Hey guys, it's Friday night, and that means it's Nancy Matz Friday, and she's going to be doing some short readings for you guys. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust, turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. All right, hello everybody. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties. I went to move my mic over and the dang thing unplugged. So I was trying to get it plugged in. Just one of those days, right? Anyway, welcome. My name is Charlotte. I think I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state. I'm trying to get my right boxes. Hello, Jerry. Jerry's still here. Let me gather myself now. Never had that happen before. That's a first. All these years of doing this stuff. It's first time a mic decided to unplug itself. Not a good sign. Anyway, it's today's Casual Friday, which means it's Nancy Matz Friday, and I'm really excited to have her here. Where she's going to be doing some short readings, not long readings, not anything extensive. One question. I hope you have your questions ready for her, but just one quick reading. I call them quickies. But welcome. If you're watching from Facebook and you realize suddenly that you like what you see, if you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow, because we have a show that runs Sunday through Friday every week, and it's different topics every day and different type of people on. And see, I'm a journalist. I don't like to follow the standard rules of paranormal radio. I like to change it up a bit, and have things that are of interest to people. All right, we've done stories on abuse, we've done stuff on 911 on September 11th, all kinds of stuff that we've covered here. So yeah, and if you're watching from YouTube and you realize you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a good time to hit that subscribe button. We're looking for subscribers, and I think you'll find something that you like over there too. Like I said, I don't like to cover the same types of stories all the time. So check out what we have over on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find something you like. All right. So tonight, getting back to tonight. All right, here we go. Oh, also, yes, don't let me forget. Show us some love. Okay. The way the algorithms work on these things, the more happy faces and thumbs up and hearts you send us, the better we do. So if you guys can just fire some of those off. I'm not telling you if you hate the show to do it, but I mean, just even if you hate the show, fire some of those off. As that way, somebody you hate might watch the show. We don't know. So yeah, just show us some love and then fire that stuff off. And my hair a certain way under my hat. It bugs me. But anyway, welcome. And again, Nancy Matz. We're going to have a little chat first, like we always do. Little get reorganized chat. And then she's going to do some readings for you guys. All right. So let me bring her on. And yeah, here we go. Well, that was fun.
Had me wondering. I knew you were up because you sent me the link.
I don't know why. I've never had it pop up. It's supposed to lock in, right?
But you said microphone, but your screen went off. So
because I haven't turned the screen on.
Oh, so you unplugged the computer?
No, I unplugged the mic by accident somehow. The screen's designed because that's a pre-video that runs before the show starts. So that's designed to disappear anyway. And then I pop on. And I have to hit the button to pop on. But what happened was I was moving the mic because the mic has to be kept forward of me for the space in here. So I pulled the mic back, and then in order to sit in this position, I have to move the mic itself up like this. And as I moved it up, it popped out. The power cord for the mic popped out. So then
days like that, I was wondering if I had. Well, someone made a comment.
Well, then it's one of those round 3 prong jobbers, right? The mic, because it's a studio mic. Then I
Yeah.
had to get the prongs in the right spot. So then I had to take the headphones off and take the hat off, and because the darkness now, because I'm filming here, it's all dark except for the spotlights. So I had to take all that off, and then I had to get my headlamp on and figure out which way to plug the damn thing in, and then here we are.
Hello, everybody. Well, we thought we were having a sunny day for those of you not Northern California. And I went out and about today and I was cool. I thought, and then someone called me and said, next week we're supposed to have 75-degree weather. And I went, not in this neighborhood. It's 50 degrees. Wait a minute. No, 55 or something. I don't know what the high was, but it wasn't as high as they were predicting. So I'm sitting here with a sweater on.
So if I tell you a week from Sunday it's going to be 78 here, will you be angry?
This coming tomorrow?
A week from Sunday.
Okay, that's a week.
We're hitting 78.
I think we're getting the weather. I asked my husband, I says, I hope we get some spring. And he said, probably 2 or 3 days worth. I'm fed up with this. Yeah.
It's like they're teasing us. It's like the powers that be are teasing us. I mean, we get a couple good days of, real nice springy weather, and then all hell breaks loose again. So ugly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got my new contacts finally, and anytime they tried to upgrade me and make them stronger, I've had the same prescription for like 10 years. Anytime they've tried to make the contacts stronger, it never works out.
Well, have an eye exam first, right?
Right, which is what he did. So I'm having trouble. The screen when I'm looking at you and it's kind of blurry. And I know it's because
that didn't help you read.
And I think, what's going on is that he tried to upgrade the strength on him. So this has happened before. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blow everybody up really big on the other side there so I can read without struggling. But I can see far really good. But this has happened before. Like I said, the gal that normally did it knows better. We've tried this a couple of times, and I'm just happy to have contacts again. That's all I can say right now. So maybe at some point I'll readjust. We'll see, but I'm gonna have. We'll see. It's not that bad because I can see like a certain distance. Yeah. I don't see good. Then I see fine.
We're all the same way. I just got new glasses too, so I want to show them off.
It's just crazy. So I'm gonna blow this up for today.
The big red ones.
I can read that barely, but I can still see you, so that's a good sign. I can still see me. I just can't touch anything on the side. So I think we're okay with this side. I can move forward. Okay. So today.
Good.
Huh?
I wish you could see better. This is like 3-4 weeks now. It's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
So
it is. Yeah. I have an announcement to make, and I can't wait for this. But I haven't set the interview date up yet. But I'm really excited about this.
What's
now watch Nancy's face when I say this. Okay, watch. It's gonna be a Nancy's face thing.
What?
I'm interviewing Tinkerbell. See, I told you.
I think that's fun. Why not?
Okay. So I was perusing Facebook in my little Disney groups, and apparently Gina Rock was the longest tenured Tinkerbell to fly over Disneyland.
Oh, how cute!
And I found her website, and I emailed them last night, and she's willing to do the show. I have to set a date up, so we're going to get to talk to her about flying over Disneyland and all the ways they stopped. Oh my God, the way they stopped her after that flight was crazy. Just crazy.
Can you imagine being in a harness being thrown into the
air? And from what I understand, when she hit that harness and they threw her out of the Matterhorn, she was going 30 miles an hour.
No way.
Yes.
Well, she probably got used to it. I hope
between the Matterhorn. Well, she was a circus performer.
Oh, then she's
between the Matterhorn and the castle, 30 miles an hour. And you think Disneyland has more money than God, right? So you think they'd have some really cool way to stop her. They got the two biggest guys on staff and a big mattress.
What year? You got to tell me. I'm so bright here. I'm going to turn this down. What years was she involved?
The last time she flew, I think, was 2005.
That was before some of the more modern ways of doing things, for sure.
But they still stop her the same way, from what my understanding. There's somebody now that flies as the Blue Fairy, so I'm just like, okay, But yeah,
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, in fact, that's just recent because I was shocked. I go to Disneyland. I thought, oh, I'll see Tinkerbell, and when they did that new one around the, but it's cool because they took from what these guys are like, this doesn't do paranormal. Yeah, but it's cool, right? They took the
Why
way
not?
the NBA film stuff because they have cameras all over the NBA that can swoop in and out,
Right, right.
and so they took that and applied it to Disneyland. And I think she was the last one or the first one before she retired to fly on the new cables. And what the new cables do is it's even better because you know how like at the beginning of the Disney shows used to have Tinkerbell flying out around like a castle, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Well, that's how they
yeah.
fly her now around the castle like that.
I think that's fun.
And
I
I
was
didn't
trying to
see
think.
that till I was there this last time, and it was a blue fairy that did it, but it was cool.
I think it's ingenious how they do the football. They have the wires above the stadium,
Yep.
and I didn't know that's how it was done until they demonstrated on TV once, and I
Yeah,
was just
that's what
so
they do with her.
impressed.
That's what they do with Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're gonna hear all about her history with Tinkerbell, and she even flew pregnant. That's what's frightening. you know. So we're gonna hear all about the history and everything, and I can't wait to get her on. I'm really excited.
It'd be fun
She
to find out what she does now, 20 years later, what
Yes,
kind of
yes,
path
yeah.
she
What
went
kind of
into.
career she's got now that she's retired? But
I hope she
yeah,
went to kindergarten or first grade teacher. You know, how
isn't that
many
great?
times would that
The kid comes running home and says, Mommy Tinkerbell's teaching me." That'd be really
Yeah,
cool.
right? Right?
So anyway, yeah. So I gotta cement a date with her. That's terrible. I'm gonna date Tinkerbell.
You
I've
you
seen her.
knew I was gonna go, "Oh."
Show
Well,
date.
I'm
Oh,
not
no, no,
somebody
no,
who
no. Shh.
I'm not somebody that goes to Disneyland, often.
Yeah,
My
yeah. I
family
knew it.
goes often.
I knew what she would say. And I said,
You know,
but yeah. So
I
it's
know
gonna be
everything against it. That's fun for you.
it's
That's
gonna be a
great,
fun
you know?
show. I mean, it's gonna be fun. I mean, how
Yeah,
many people wanna hang 175 feet in the dark over an amusement park?
yeah. Well, I think it's wonderful, and
Yeah.
I'm taking a little sip of stuff. I have a dry throat again. I'm sure my throat will be okay, but I visited family and great grandbabies, and the youngest 4
There you
was
go.
getting over something, right? So you're gonna hear it in my voice. Let's hope it's a passing thing. But that's the greatness of family. I didn't get any hugs and kisses, but I'm sure the air was shared. And I enjoyed tonight. Now, there are some people in the room that are new names to me. I don't know if I've talked to Sarah before. And of course, family is always important, and I can
Yes.
only tell you who I see. But for those who I've talked to family before, why don't we leave it open? You can ask me anything. I've had quite a few clients last month talk about all kinds of stuff, from fear of the meteor, right? I guess there was a meteor that passed between the Earth and the moon. And I have to share with everybody, um, and I don't want to go down this road unless you want me to. I do not see a nuclear war nor a great flooding of all the plains of America. I'm just not getting that. Yes, we have weather. And it was like 20, 22 years ago, I read this family one at a time. And I read the wife and the kids, everything. And when I got to her, I looked at her and she was mid mid state somewhere. It was on the phone. And all I could see for her husband was water everywhere and for her. And I went, oh my gosh, in his lifetime, he's going to have to deal with flooding and a lot of water. And she says, oh my God. I says, well, I don't see your death. I'm just telling you. And look at all the floods we've had. And I want to caution you, I need to do a show next week. If we haven't
Sure.
done it, we need to do more about predicting because it's amazing to me how many people have called me after 25 years and now 30 and saying that everything's finally happened because I read so far out. So I don't mind doing predictions. I do caution. I don't want you to ask, is your husband and boyfriend faithful? I have to tell you what I get.
Just
I,
to interrupt real fast about the water thing. That's interesting that you say that because there's a
yeah,
lot of predictions that there's going to be a big upheaval on the West Coast. In
I'm,
that the tidal waves are coming, and Sacramento, what I mean, Sacramento is going to be a coastal city. That some of that's going to fall. It's going to end up underwater.
I think it's going to be so gradual. I'm not positive it's going to be that fast, though. Though this the ice caps melting is quicker than they expected. And I did make a prediction. Those of you who were in that house, and it's been almost 30, 28, 9 years back. I entertained about 50 people, and they wanted 50 years in the future. And Kathy and Marlene Matichek was the sisters whose house I was at. One of them owned it, but they were both there. So if anybody recognizes those names, let me know. And I went I went into the vortex. I went into a cycle in front of me, and I went out 50 years to the United States, and they were moving the White House, and they are going to move it in. And the gentleman that's going to be one of the first one that's going to be in there was a stocky, very dark, black-haired man, and younger, 45 to 50, very stocky, like an ex-football player look. And I said, he's going to be in the White House. So that hasn't happened, but the waters haven't come to Washington yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have to do some rearranging. And some of these things I pick up, I have to caution. I don't think my family's going to listen to this, but I see the grandchildren growing up, career paths, and one of my granddaughters is going to marry a redheaded man. And I, if anybody knows how to stop these pop-ups, please tell me. It's news briefs on the side, and it makes that noise. Um, but I see survival all over the place. And in the future, we will be different. I would say 100, 150 years, we're going to be building homes within mountains. Something like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he went to Mars. And what
Mm-hmm.
was that name? What was the name of that movie? They had hillside homes. I saw something very similar, but more elegant, not 1950s pipes in the wall kind of look, 70s rather. Um, Anybody get the name of that movie where he goes and creates atmosphere by putting his hands on the thing inside the Earth, in Mars? But anyway, please, it was remade, and my mind just went blank on it. Supposed to be a large earthquake. You know, earthquakes are everywhere. I can't. We've already had a really big earthquake in the 86, 87. Remember the World's
Mm-hmm.
game was playing? To me,
Yep.
that was a big one. And so I think we're just having a lot of them now. I didn't say Oregon, Washington was without fear.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a lot of water coming into the islands around northwest part of Seattle up there. My mother and sister live on one of those islands where my mother's passed away, but I saw her island area kind of inundated. So I think there's going to be flooded like 2000, Christmas 2004. I can't predict when that's going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason is that on timeline, that energy of, oh darn, is so big, it looks closer to us.
Mm-hmm.
So if I said to Liz Taylor, if she were alive today, by the way, honey, you're going to get married again, the energy of a ninth wedding would be so tiny. But if I said to my best friend, you're going to get married, the bubble of wow of marriage would be so big I could see it sooner. And that's happened to a couple. And I've mentioned a couple ladies, and I call them having quiet lives where eventually things happen and it can be quite far out. Um, so anyway, I want to get back to what can and cannot be asked.
Sure. Sure.
Large
Sure.
inheritances, that's hard because if you're asking about a spouse that you divorced, I've always bring that one up. Um, on the air, don't bring up something that if someone were to listen to it, it would infringe upon someone's privacy. And that's really difficult when people ask about celebrities. And what should I say? Yeah, you can ask me anything political. I can't remember if it was on a show or if I was entertaining somebody about Putin and some of the things I've seen. You can ask. Why not? Ask about what's going on. If I get an answer, fine. It's like spirit people. Oh, uh, you can ask who's around you, but this time, if I've already told you what family is, fine. If I get the same answer, okay, that's what you want. But once you ask who spirit guides are around you or something different, challenge me and see what can come up. Um, I don't know if I remember everything, but I don't know how many people are in the room versus in Facebook. Are these people YouTube or Facebook that we're seeing clocked in here?
I'm seeing Facebook.
Facebook. Let's see if we
Facebook.
can get
Yeah.
some. Yeah. And hello, ladies. And is there a gentleman here? Um,
We got Facebook. 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 Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah.
Cool. I'm happy.
I'm open to anything. And Char, if it gets slow, then ask me something. Anything coming up.
Okay.
And only thing is, I don't know what my voice sounds like. It's because it's kind of keep her
Sounds
drinking
good.
coffee. Does it? It
We're
feels
good.
kind of
Yeah.
raspy to
Pamela
me.
has a question.
Mm. Hi,
Just out of
Jerry. Yeah,
curiosity.
go ahead. And
Since we're talking
Sarah,
about the West, I don't think this is her question, her regular question, but this is something because we were talking about the West Coast. She's just wondering what's going to happen to the Midwest.
the Midwest.
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you for that earthquake. It was in 1989. And we
Oh,
felt
where
that,
they San Francisco Giants.
yes, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a
Right.
large earthquake. I think we're always going to have it. You know, that one with the rock in it, um,
Right.
San Andreas. I've never seen anything like that, never, ever. Not that to that extent where the ground is ripped apart to that extent. I think it's kind of like our lot in life to create the worst case scenario. But I
Right.
think it's already happened. I think the big earthquake that everybody's predicting, unfortunately, was two of them. Um, Christmas 2004, 240,000 people died. And the one that ripped open the ocean, March 11th, and I can't remember, that hit Japan and all those people died. That
Right.
is that is the worst case scenario, and it's going to happen again. If I said the coast of Indian Ocean, I think something's going to happen over there, but it can happen anywhere, but nothing like Hawaii sinking into the ocean like 2012 movie. Nah. And the reason is I see too many people grow up. I see too many people grow old and where they end up. Just a week or so back, I told the woman I was talking to that I saw two moves, and I saw where her second move would be and her final move where she'd live the rest of her life out. People wouldn't do that if we were all gone. Um, and if you get a reading from me and I do 10, 15, 20 years out, you could fly and take a trip to anywhere in the world because you're the one that on the plane knows you're going to come back. Because
Mhm.
unless you get too risky and get on a raft in the middle of the ocean just to see if you get a shark to turn you away, you know,
I know
you could
where
always risk it.
I just had a twisted thought over that too.
Oh, yeah. What?
You get this
What?
reading, oh, you're going to be flying all over the place, wherever, and then the plane goes down, and then there's people, how there's always someone that's going to grab you to pull you down.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm not dying. I had a reading. Beat the crap out of
Well,
people.
that's the thing is that you will survive because I was able to describe to you the
Yeah,
end result. And if you
that's it.
don't, then come back and haunt me. Tell me
But
what
but
happened.
that's the thing. I mean, I'd be so angry because I'm like, I've been told I'm surviving. Don't
Then
drag
you
me
would,
down.
and then you
You
would
son of
live
a.
and say, I would have died. And I said, but you didn't.
Yeah, see.
You're not supposed to. And I have so many conversations around that time and accessing time and how come I can do this in the first place. It's like, well, you are doing this, and I would like to be Einstein, have my brain looked at after I'm gone.
Here's the thing with the Midwest. Here's
It's
how I
not
see it. This is how I
Midwest,
see it.
okay.
Let's assume it's supposed to go the way it does, and like where I live becomes a coastal area, which would be nice. Um, that means the whole temperature thing's going to change, Pamela. So
Mhm.
that means you may not be buried in snow anymore. You may get all the heat that we get. You may get our weather. See, where we would get the
Which,
coastal weather, you would get our weather now because you're
well,
further in.
someone we this conversation is going to where someone mentioned this to me, and then I took the conversation. We're probably getting Oregon's weather here in Northern California.
Right. Exactly.
And so we have more rain, and the amount of snow now has exceeded
It's
all world
changing now.
records
Yeah.
up there in Truckee or Tahoe. I mean,
Yeah. It's
that's a
all
seven,
changing now.
just amazing to me.
Now, if
Well,
summer would stay, around
what's
75, 80, Oregon weather, right? I'd be happy.
right?
But no, we'll see what happens
We
this
don't
year.
know yet.
Yeah, we don't
You
know
know,
yet.
let's
Boy, that would be
experience this
nice.
first.
Okay, guys. So whatever question you might have,
Uh-oh,
fire on.
Sarah's saying the screen, is it cutting out for everyone else or just her?
It's when
So
you're
are we,
moving your head.
my head, I'm doing this and it's cutting out?
Yeah, it pops.
I don't have any earrings on. I don't know what it
It's
could
weird because
be.
it pops. It's just really weird. It's a weird sound. I hear it too. Just don't move
I
and keep
guess
your
I'd
head
throw
steady.
these out and get another headset. I
Just be a Vulcan and just stay in one spot.
don't move at all.
Oh, Pamela says
Oh,
she loves the
Sarah
heat.
says she refreshed her app, so she's watching on her phone probably.
Okay, Pamela says she loves the heat. You wouldn't like this heat.
Where's Pamela? What states are these kids in?
Pamela's in Wisconsin.
Oh, I have some
I
people
mean, I
move to
went to
Wisconsin.
Arizona in the middle of summer to see Nancy, or not even that. It was April. The heat in Arizona, as hot as it is completely different from the heat here.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
heat in Arizona is nice and dry. You can tolerate it. The heat here, ugh.
But when I was living there, is when I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, and I had to leave because it got too hot.
Yeah,
You want anybody were to research Graves' disease. I also had Hashimoto's, which is very rare. So I had trouble regulating. It was very, very difficult. and it was too hot. It felt like I was a balloon being blown up, and I was just, you know, um, fresh
But it
app. I'm
is
clear. I have
Sacramento has
Sarah. Huh? Sarah has two
Sacramento.
questions.
Sacramento has weird heat because it's kind of moist
Okay.
and dry at the same time, so you get like both. You get like both animals at the same time. It's horrible. I remember getting off the plane. It was like midnight in Arizona,
Oh, where did you
Tucson.
visit me? Tucson. Tucson. Now, Tucson is a really lovely place.
Yes, and I remember
One of my
getting off the
favorite
plane that night.
locations.
I'm used to like getting off the plane here in Sacramento when it's hot because it'll stay. It'll drop to a whole 92 and then pop back up during the day. Here, I get off the plane. It's midnight. I'm thinking, well, it's only going to be like 92. It was 112 when I walked off that sucker.
In
And that
Tucson?
door, yeah, that
Wow.
door at the airport opened, and it was like, whoosh, it's like I walked into hell. But I
Well,
mean, it's okay.
that's how
It's
I felt
okay.
when I went to Florida one year. Actually, no one remembers this, but I entertained on a cruise line in I can't remember, 92. And when we got to Florida, it was really awful. So
Oh, Florida's got humidity. Yikes.
yeah, yeah. Every state has its problems, right?
Yeah.
And so California burns up, and then we flood, and so we have our problems. Every state does.
An earthquake. All right,
Marissa
Sarah,
says
you
her
have two
dad's
questions.
family's from Tucson.
Hit me, Sarah. Hit me with your questions.
Yeah, let's have fun here, and
Yeah.
let's leave it
We're
open.
just having a loose Friday.
It's Friday. That's why we do this. It's just an interesting day and talk about topics that maybe not other people cover.
All right,
And
guys, hit us with your questions. It's time.
I don't know how they do that. Is it someone
They'll put
calling in? Did
they'll
you
put
give
them in
them a
the
phone?
chat.
Someone said they had.
Here
Okay,
we go.
that's not.
Hey, George, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, is there a George in here?
That's my good buddy
Oh,
George. Oh, you sensed the mail. See that? Okay.
what's that?
You
What
sensed the
state
mail
is
earlier.
George in?
George, tell Nancy where you're from. Hang on.
I'll answer Sarah.
Nancy wants to know where you're from.
Just be fun to know where people are.
Yeah.
It's not part of the reading.
Okay. Sarah wants to know, her first question is, who keeps setting off her freaking baby mom? Oh, yeah, France. See? That's my buddy from France.
Oh, George is from France.
George is France.
The language I learned in high school, and I don't remember
Cool?
Deja vu.
One of the
I love you.
languages of love.
Because I had a boyfriend that wanted me, they were friends, so we could talk.
Romance language.
At my age, I don't remember any of it.
Who keeps setting off my freaking baby monitor?
You have a
Okay,
I forgot to bring this up. I don't think it's Sarah, but there was a woman that came earlier. You have a grandmother that's setting that off, and she's laughing. She was quite slim. She shows me kind of, even at her older age, she was quite slim. She didn't have a tummy. And so there's a woman, and she walks around, and she waves her hand in front of the monitor. I love this woman. And Sarah, are your people, which side of your family has a little taller people? Because she looks like she has a little longer arm and elegant looking, not big bust. And curious, she does have a light colored dress on, but I see the fabric going up to her neck. So I'm not positive it's grandparents or great grandparents. Where is Sarah? Be sure to answer this.
Yes.
Oh, Jerry says she's from. Yes, I remember Jerry being in such a site.
How many guides do I have?
Well, I want to make sure that Sarah heard me. And what's making me laugh is this lady has very slim arms, and they're very light skinned and kind of a nice hand. So I'm not positive how I know how old she is, but she might be one or two or three generations back. And she walks around and she flicks in front of it, knowing that you get it. I love that.
Okay. Jerry, how many guides do I have?
But my husband's family is made of oxen. Well, then you have a tall lady, and she has white. I might be looking from you back, and she's very slim. She has a little bit of a bust, but her overall body. So you need to look at your family. If not, then you have a visitor in your house. I don't think it's a family guide because she wants you to know she's there. Okay. How can I know my guide's name? Jerry, this is something I did cover in a class, but I think, I'm not sure you were there.
And attached to that is how many guides do I have?
Is it the same lady,
yeah.
Sarah?
How many guides does she have?
Sarah's family's the one with the lady walking around and she's flicking in front of her hand like this in front of I love people like
No,
that.
yeah, that's no. This is Jerry asking how many guides she has.
Right, right. We have numbers beyond comprehension and they can come and go. Someone said to me the movie What Dreams May Come was a very good example of how spirit travels. You just think of somebody and you're back and forth. So right
Hmm.
at the moment, this morning you had three, right now you have two around you. The one this morning, you already told me your family a little bit, so I don't want to kind of is a boxy man, and he said he was hairy and muscular. But that could be also a family member, not necessarily just a guide. I don't know what creativeness you have, writing or artwork or redoing your house, but one of your guides is around you now wanting you to be more creative, or what you're doing, she's giving you creative ideas. So I'm not sure what that means. Um,
Okay. Okay. And then the second question is, how
Oh,
can I
wait
look?
a minute. It's happened 7 times in the last 2 weeks. So this lady's I'm expecting another baby, so I expect my spirit activity will go a little haywire. Oh, this lady wants you to know she's around. I'd be really curious if you're no, this is not the baby. This is a guide for your baby. It will be there. A very, very lovely lady. Oh my gosh. Make sure you come back after the baby and see if I can connect it to your husband's
Oh,
side of the family, not your bloodline, but maybe your husband's side of the family has the taller, the lean lady. She may be connected to the baby coming. Oh, I love that.
you know what? And for what
What?
it's worth, I have one of those newer garbage cans that opens up by itself, just with movement. And mine, so I'll be sitting there cooking, and the
I
damn
know.
thing opens up. Somebody's messing around my. I don't want. I need a reading on it because I pretty much know who it is.
Yeah,
But
but you have three people permanently living in your house
yeah,
all
I
the
mean, I,
time,
I always
or
got
four
ghosts.
now with your brother too. I don't know
Yeah,
if your brother shows up
everybody is
too.
here with me. How can I know my guides' names?
Marissa, something keeps bothering my dog. Last Saturday, my dog was freaking out looking out the glass patio door. I saw nothing, but my dog was upset. I think it was another animal, possibly a spirit animal. I don't know how busy your neighborhood is, but I have a sense of it not being adult, not being
Hmm.
like a human. So it makes me think of a mass that's the size of another dog. Um, and dog spirits are just like human spirits. They gravitate toward other animals too. So this dog is, I only see him as a mass, kind of going from
Hmm.
the left side out the glass, from the left side going to the right, and your dog wants to go out there. I'm not sure if your dog likes it or he's curious and wants to go out and check it out. It doesn't show me, oh, I know who that is. He used to be my buddy. I don't get that. I get somebody in the backyard that he doesn't know. It was something
You
short. That's what I'm also
I
getting.
think I'll do it that way so I can read them.
Oh, um, who, let's see. Marissa
Pamela.
wants finish that one. It was something
Pamela,
short. That's what I'm
Wisconsin.
telling you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
No, no, I'm validating. I saw something smaller, like a dog side, and Marissa just answered it was something short. Remember, I'm going to
Okay.
see what I see. And
Right.
so that's
Okay.
I think I missed something else. Okay, Pamela, where are you from? She say already? I don't
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Who is in my house that causes havoc? I don't remember. Wisconsin is an old state. It's wide open at times, but you have someone old in your house, generational. So I don't know if you live in an old generational neighborhood or territory, but it feels like someone, and the visual of it is not real clear, like that person's forgotten some. Um, it's not a spirit that went to be a ghost and now it's a demon kind of a thing. I don't get that. More like someone who died disoriented, and is trying to ask for information. So this could be a very senior person that died 20, 30 years ago. I'm not sure. I do have a sense of masculine, but people say I'm masculine. So if I pass over, they say I could be with short hair. If I cut my hair, I look like a man. I doubt that, but um, it makes me think of a slimmer, dark clothed, dark haired man, and he grew older, and it feels like he's looking for something, or he's disoriented. I'm not sure I know what it means. I do not get him to be a ghost. You could talk to him and straighten him out. So when the house is calm, but you feel this guy, hey, who's this? What do you want? just be real nice about it. Say, I mean, I'm here. Just let me know what you want. Talk to me.
Okay.
Wake them up. Get them out there. If you don't want
Well,
them.
Pamela, here's the issue here. She says a woman had died here. She lives in a subdivision. Well, Pamela's husband is sensitive. He's like a sensitive in training.
So it could be a
So that
masculine woman I'm picking up.
yeah, it could be a masculine woman, or that door is open. I mean, because he's like a beacon for stuff.
So
So it
the
could be
husband is feeling this disorientation person,
no, he's
or
just sensitive. He's just
he just
sensitive.
senses that person there.
Yeah,
And
he's
I'd be
sensitive. Logical.
very caring and sympathetic. This is not someone who's giving you turmoil as much as there's something wrong with the person. Like, I
Right,
don't know where I am. Why does it look different than when I lived here? Be curious how
right.
old, if you're subdivision, how old is the house? Nowadays people are living in 50, 60-year-old homes, are redoing them. The whole neighborhood's brand new, but it's old.
Yeah, she says he
So
hears them. Okay, I want to answer Jerry's question because I can answer that. Jerry,
good,
we
Jerry.
did our meditation exercises when you were training as a beginning psychic,
Hmm.
and to know your guardian's names, I think the best way for you would be to go into the library, that spirit library, like I've trained you guys to do, and that little box that's on the table. It has a piece of paper in it. At that point, before you open the box, I would ask your spirit guide or spirit guides to write their names down, and that might be a way to get their names. That's what I would suggest. The easiest
Um,
way.
that's very curious. You know, people say to me, I've had people say, "Oh, you gave me all the description of the person showing up in my life, or who's
Yeah,
gonna be my new boss or something. Can you not come up with a name?" Well,
yeah,
a lot of people sacrifice one ability for the other. And
right.
I tell the story of my friend Camille, 1991 to she was a really good friend. She's had some health issues, so I just can't go there, in her life. Someone said she would marry a Bob. Bob didn't show up. And
It happens.
yeah, and so I have to be really, I can give all kinds of visual, and people can find these people in the family tree. But to get a name is really hard, especially nowadays. When I started out, I didn't have the influx of the Europeans or the different cultures, all these different names. And a lot of times I can describe dark hair, dark skin. And I was just noticing how pale I look. And my skin's darker than most people, but these bright
Hmm.
lights make me look pale. But when I see somebody, I don't know what culture there is. And I have Mediterranean clients now. Um, Malta, Greece, Italy, and they it was a nice little domino effect. I got, people for different countries calling me, and they have to have an interpreter, and the names are impossible. I told somebody once that when I was an infant, I had a lot of ear problems. I don't hear as well as I used to, but the wiring, it doesn't allow me to hear like names or really complex words. I have to really phonically pull them out like that.
Right.
So when I hear a name from another culture, what if you were going to meet somebody and they're from Greece? How would I come up with a name? But I could tell you what they're going to look like, and that's
Right.
what's important. Yeah.
I was
Oh,
just thinking.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go first.
So today I was thinking about tonight, and a woman came to me, and I said, "Anybody going to show up tonight? I'd like to know now if you're in the house." It's so as dark as I am, someone light, and she made me feel like I'm 5'4" and a half if I stretch really tall now. All the years of bending over, and she feels a little taller than I am, and she had a little stronger bones than I did, a little broader shoulder. She says she was very beautiful when she was younger. Uh, I think she might have been a blonde because I see really light hair and it's curly. I have everybody knows I'm Indian, but I have what they call the Indian head. It's really round, broad. She wasn't as broad as I'm, but sometimes I'll talk about a woman with a little skull. This woman had a nice head, and she didn't look like Betty Davis like that, but she had a really beautiful face because she had a pug nose, she had light eyes, she had a lot of blonde hair, and people found her striking because she had a square jaw also, but delicate. And she said, I never got heavy. I was always kind of like small busted, straight up and down, and also like the lady early. But this lady
Hmm.
came today. And um, she said her body died. She had a condition that caused her death, So she
Mhm.
looks younger maybe than when she actually died because she wants me to think she was a young woman in the early 50s, 40s to 50s. So that may mean she passed before the 80s and 90s because I don't feel like she went into John Travolta era, that later and all the. I
Right.
just think she was a great grandma. And it might have been smoking. It feels like she wants to caution somebody to take care of the health and not smoke or be around smokers or take care of themselves. So I'm wondering who in the room did I describe? A little taller, medium to lighter bone. Clearly, it's European, Northern European, lighter generation cultures, but Northern Italy had blondes too. Um, and I think the distinguishing part would be she had a little wider face like a Betty Davis look and a little bit of a pug nose, not like mine. Mine was repaired work from being broken, but I found her very attractive. I have a little longer nose. She had a shorter nose, and I suspect when she was younger, she was very, very attractive, and she thought she was pretty too. So, to whom did I describe? Anybody in the room? Um,
You got it,
s-
guys.
okay, so if it's not here, then somebody soon. And I encourage that person to get hold of me. Um, I get the sense of breathing issues, and I'm not positive picking up her or you that she's worried about. And she didn't tell me that earlier, so I want to thank you very much. Um, Anyway, so that was that. Uh, I know the last time that we talked, a woman came in who had body damage, and I think I had been talking about some doing the readings in Sierra Vista by Tombstone, and how many people came to me with military issue of people who would be damaged. And I
Mhm.
think that attracted. This time, it's more like we ask family things because people are in disarray now. They don't know how to live their life. They're really cautious with everything, with their life. They don't want to travel as much. They want to spend money. Um, and I remember someone had asked me around Christmas or just before, and I was given caution. I says, I see a washboard of the economy. I don't see a big deal, but I said, I do pick up money issues, and it's going to be up and down, at least until next summer. So I was cautioning people, don't over. Of course, then I buy a vehicle, so it's like,
So when you were talking about your ethnic background,
yeah.
when I was growing up, because I'm half Mexican
Hmm.
and half Hungarian, so I've got that olive complexion thing going on with with the Mexican.
Yeah.
My brother and my sister, because they're halfies for me, they were more well, my brother was Scottish and Mexican, probably with a
Hmm.
little Italian mixed in. My sister, same thing. But my brother, every summer when he would be outside, he would get so dark
Oh,
because the Mexican, I hate to say it, but the Mexican part took over. It never happened to me as a kid. I go to Hawaii. I'm there. I'm there a week and a half. I walked out looking like my brother. I was shocked.
yeah,
My
yeah.
skin went so dark, and it just utterly surprised me.
I was a lifeguard and taught swimming in high school. I was going to be one of the things I was interested in be in physical ed, and I
Yeah,
had pictures of high school that you wouldn't even recognize of me. And my mother's side of the family, my grandmother was Indian, and my
right,
side of the family was cowboys and Indians. So what else was mixed in there?
right.
And I do have 13% Portuguese, and someone said, "Oh, you could
Yeah.
that also." So, but my
Yes.
father's side were the bluest, blondest peoples. The
Hmm.
Swedish, Norway,
Yep.
um,
Hungarian, all those people.
England, and Scotland type
Yes.
of thing. So my sister, my father, his mother, on were all the light peoples. Where my mother's side of the family, and my mom said to him once um, that when he saw her, she had the dark hair and black eyes and really big like mine, just big, big. She was a tiny little thing, 100 pounds soaking wet at 5'3". You can imagine he just desperately fell in love with her, and they were married in 90 days. After he said, a week into dating her, he said,
Hmm.
"I will marry you in 90 days," and they were married. So the gift came from his side of the family.
One second,
So
real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Finish
go
up.
ahead, finish it, honey. Go
George,
ahead.
I want to thank you for coming to the
Your
show
story.
today. George, I just figured this out. It's 3 a.m. in France,
Oh, he's an outlaw like you are.
and
Go
he's
for it,
live.
George.
I mean, he's live with us here. That's awesome, George. Thank you so much. Makes me feel good. See, we're around the world.
Yeah.
Keep those questions coming, guys. Keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. I sound like an auctioneer today.
Oh, see,
What do
there
you say?
Pam says, "No, I live in a subdivision." No, I knew
Oh, it's later than
that's not
that.
What I
What?
think of Wisconsin, I think of it wide open spaces. That's what I said.
Oh, it's
Um,
4:14 a.m. in France. Oh my gosh, George. Jeez, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
isn't that fun to
I
talk
feel
to
this just
people
gives me
from?
it gives me a thrill.
I have clients in the West Australia and Perth. One of those towns is Perth, Perth, and it's really difficult to line up the times. I think
Yes.
it's 15 hours, and Italy 9 hours. Malta was 9. And Greece, I don't remember what that was. Is Sarah? My second question is about my father's lifespan. I keep feeling like it's coming to an end. Not yet, hon. We're not near that. If what you think is in 2 to 5 years, maybe he'll start getting ill. I said to somebody once, I'm half right. If I say an episode is coming up, they could have a health episode or they could pass away. We're not privy to really know. I've given caution to people that there's a unfortunate event happening, and
Right.
I feel like your dad's going to have an eventful event happen before he starts getting to where he'll wind down, and that happens a lot. But um, do me a favor and don't put those thoughts to the universe because his
Hmm.
spirit will hear it. Oh, I'm supposed to leave, and you don't want that. Um,
Jerry wants to see if you see travel for her in the future, the near future.
I do, but I don't know if it's until fall. That could be the near future for me. Is fall. Um, so tell me, where are you going? Have you planned your trip yet? Where's the question? It's Jerry. Where do you want to go, honey? Jerry, you want to go to France? You might head toward the Mediterranean by way of France. How's that?
Pamela, how do you get spirits to return items that they've moved?
Who are you talking to?
Sarah, Pamela, her question is, how do you get spirits to return items that they have moved?
Go ahead and ask them.
Good luck with that.
You cannot get anybody to do anything in life. You can't do it to spirit people. You can ask nicely. My grandson was saying someone's moving things around, and I assured him it was not the
New
dead
York.
person that had died in the house. It was somebody else.
Hmm.
So it's up to you. I would ask him very nicely to return something that you might have lost. Yeah,
Jerry
in the
says she's
house.
going to New York.
When?
Don't know.
Put that in there, hon.
Okay. There's a no there. I don't know what the no is for. Okay. Um, he's young, but he's led a lifestyle of poor choices, haven't we all? His mental health is scary at this point. Ah,
I don't know what young means.
right.
Marissa, that's a difficult because that's what everybody's afraid of right now, and sometimes that's really hard to get. I'm not seeing poor with you at all. I think you're going to have a roller coaster as everybody else has, and that's the economy. If you do have a big inheritance, I'm not picking it up at the moment. Um,
Jerry
I
says before
asked,
September. Pamela says she acts nicely, but then she gets bossy. Pamela,
oh, to the
oh,
spirit
that's
people.
Sarah. That's Sarah.
Sarah
That's
asked
Sarah.
the spirit people nicely, and then I get bossy, or they get bossy with you and move more.
Pamela,
Um,
really quick about this thing with the
Sarah,
objects moving. I don't think you saw my question from earlier because I asked you, have you been
mhm.
arguing with your husband or anything like that? Because usually with objects moving around and stuff, or like she said her garage door opened by itself the other night. Usually that's
Wow.
poltergeist activity, so that's usually poltergeist activity. It used to be people thought poltergeists were like separate ghosts, that
Hmm.
it was a ghost, but it turns out that poltergeist activity is the people living in the house. It's them by moving stuff around. For example, somebody that's going through puberty. When you got a kid that's going through puberty, a lot of the time there's poltergeist activity that occurs in the house because it's just the brainwaves. So if you're upset over something or you're stressed out, you're arguing with your husband or something else is going on, you go to bed at night, or maybe you're just stressed out. Sometimes it'll cause stuff to move around like that.
Um, Pamela said, "No, we are better than ever."
Okay,
Um,
well it's just
I do want to stay with that thought. If you have disharmony in the house,
yeah.
um, even if you have a bad day at the office, some people are very energetically very strong and they can
Hmm.
create things. Um, And that's not
Or
a
it could,
criticism. It's
no,
it's
no,
your
no, no.
frustration, your body
It could
just
be
being
anything
released.
causing it. It could be anything that triggers it off. It could be anything.
And
Worry will do
Sarah,
it too.
I do see mid-50s. That is very, very young, and I do see body damage for him. So he gets older. I'm not pointing to stomach or liver or anything,
Right.
but in his body, he will. And I can't remember what you said earlier. Lifestyle choices. There will be body damage later on, but he is young. I'm not picking anything up now. So
Hmm.
in our 50s, we can create problems that will start up 15, 20 years down the road. Absolutely.
Yeah,
By the time people's
absolutely.
my age, all those bad habits come creeping back and causing you grief.
Eating pizzas every night, that's bad. It's like all the McDonald's. I used to laugh because I had such good cholesterol levels. Because as a newspaper reporter, you're always on the road. So the easiest thing to eat when you're on the road like that and you're driving is a McDonald's cheeseburger because they're like plastic
Oh,
and they don't
mhm.
fall apart. So you can drive and look at your little maps, and so that's all reporters live on. And
Oh.
I ended up with heart failure. That's par for the course. Always
Oh,
blamed other
golly.
stuff, but I had stress factors too. But still,
Yeah, your family.
cholesterol was
They
beautiful.
most people don't
Guys,
know. Do most people know what's wrong? What happened? You share that.
no,
She took care of her parents
yeah, I took care of
while they
parents.
passed away in
Yeah,
illness too.
yeah. So
Um,
it was
Sarah
involved. So
is
drugs was
sharing
drinking.
family.
Yeah,
Sarah, don't want to say that. So that is exactly what I'm picking up is that kind of stuff is going to hurt his
yeah,
body. And you may
yeah.
lose him earlier than later, but not yet, not for a while. I don't see it yet. But what I pick up is up possibly one of those conditions could surface in a few years, up to 5 years. He may have an issue, but you may never know. He may not tell anybody. Hmm. I'm picking up anger with him. Hmm. Is what it is.
It happens. I mean, anything can cause. I mean, any
Mhm,
emotions can.
mhm.
It doesn't even have to be angry emotions for poltergeist activity. Like I said, it
Oh,
could be like like with kids going through puberty. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
I've been to houses where I've investigated houses where the bathroom the doors are slamming in the kitchen, opening and closing at
yeah,
night, stuff
yeah.
like that, and it's because they've got a kid going through puberty. Good example. I mean, I don't know if anybody can get the Waltons in right now. I don't know who's. I don't know who's got the Waltons. Somebody always has the Waltons online, right? As far as TV goes. If you watch the one called, oh my God, what was it called? The Changeling on the Waltons.
Oh, oh.
They actually
They made
do a
what?
whole thing on Elizabeth going through puberty.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And the one that
I never.
realizes, yeah, the one that realizes what's going on with her is like Godsy's wife, whatever, I forget her name, but she's the one that goes to Olivia because Olivia's getting frustrated with Elizabeth because there's rocks being thrown in through the windows. There's
Oh my
stuff
goodness.
she'll walk into a room and screw up the radio, things like that, just different things going on, or the bed moves.
Mhm, mhm.
And so the mother's really religious, right? And so it took Corbett, that's the name. So when I guess somehow Corbett Godsey found out about the stuff, did research, and she goes, "No, this is something she's going through. It's adolescence." But it's a great. In fact, I used to have it on
Oh,
DVR
Sarah.
to show my clients, you know, because I mean, somebody that had a kid. But that's a good example of poltergeist.
Sarah just wrote something interesting, but I don't know if we want to share that online. Just,
I see it.
yeah, just read it. Thank you, Sarah, for explaining. That's pretty rough. Hmm. I During the years I was raised and when
Sure,
I was
absolutely.
raising my kids, we didn't have things we talked about like uh, what she's talking about, depression and issues with kids in school like they do
Right,
now.
right.
We had our own set of issues, and uh,
The gentleman that we had on was it last
tough.
Monday? Was it last Monday or Tuesday? That psychologist.
Oh, hmm,
He's the one
hmm.
that talked about exactly what Sarah's talking about. How
Grief.
yeah, grief affects that. Plus, how in a lot of ways psychology cases have been misdiagnosed that these people are
Oh,
actually psychic
yeah,
and not
yeah.
not not psychology cases to cause that, or it could be their energy or whatever. But I'm just saying is that yeah, yes,
And I
yes,
did hear something about their getting initiatives. Some states are voting where they want to have institutions established again because
oh
there's so many
god,
homeless people the people on the streets that are troubled
yeah,
or PTSD from the war,
yeah,
and they're really not getting the help they deserve. And I
right.
think that's where they're going to this. Like, what are we doing to help these people be?
But the problem
healthier,
is, and this is a
happier?
problem I've seen with them,
Mm,
watching my friends work with them because I have friends that, you know, do a lot of
mhm,
lobbying.
mhm.
And, like you get this all the time where before they move them out of their places where, because Sacramento's bad with going in and just yanking their stuff away from them, kicking them out of wherever they're living. But some people have to ask for help if they need it. And it's normal for people to say, no, I don't need any help because that's the way we all are. We're all born independent and we don't want anybody helping us. But what's going on with some of this homeless situation too is that the state is offering help, the county is offering help, but they don't want it.
But they're too mentally ill to
Yeah,
ask.
they're too mentally ill to take it,
And I
or
think someone has to.
yeah,
This is a
yeah.
topic we could do a whole hour on, and
Oh God, yeah.
it's
Oh
like
yeah,
the gun initiatives. I mean, how is that ever going to be? How you solve
yeah,
things like that? These
yeah,
3 year kids that got killed 9 years old. Man, I couldn't
yeah,
even deal with that.
yeah.
Not with the big numbers we've had in the past either. But there's no
Right.
good fix for it until someone says, let's do this or that. And it's
But
the
yeah,
same with people on the street. And I live in Oroville, and the police station is here. So when people are picked up all over Butte County, they're
right.
brought right into Oroville. They spend the night and they live on the streets. So we have a real issue here.
Yeah,
And I order on Amazon, and my things are disappearing off the porch. I'm going to go to a hub now because I can't afford the packages keep disappearing.
hmm.
You
And
know,
getting back to poltergeist activity too,
okay, here we go.
I don't know if you knew this. Karen Rothstein and I worked a case together in
When?
Folsom. We did. We worked a case together in
Oh,
Folsom
in the past?
in the past. And
Hmm.
as it turned out, they could hear pounding in their walls and all this. And my first thing is, well, maybe they have rats, because that's what rats do. And it turned out that the couple would get into big fights, and then they'd go to bed without resolving.
Mm-mm-mm.
And the wife
Yeah.
was causing all this pounding and everything to happen. And the minute she stopped, doing that, all the noises went away. But I mean, that happens. I did a case in Woodland. No, I'm not going to give any names out. I don't know if Jerry went on that case. And it involved a couple of disabled boys, adults, and there were two elderly people taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the husband swore up and down that they had a horrible ghost in the house, that, all this was going on. They thought they had demons. First thing I see when I go in the walls, this is all part of investigating. First thing I see when I'm doing my walk around is there's a bunch of religious icons on the walls. And I said, have any of these fallen or anything? No, they haven't fallen, but I know we have a demon here. I'm sorry, if you had a demon in your house, these things would not be on, would not be on the walls.
Right, they'd be knocked off.
They'd be knocked off and broken. So then, in fact, you helped me on that case because I had like
I
3
did.
psychics working on that thing. So I could not figure it out to save my life. There was a bunch of stuff going on there in this house. And what we got? Okay, Oprah, yeah. Okra. Sorry. And anyway, so we went ahead and did, like, all our stuff. We did our water our water work and all that. And then once we figured it out, because it took myself, it took Nancy, it took Karen, it took Trish. I mean, I had everybody, all the brains were working on this. And once we figured it out, the man that lived in the house had a brain tumor several years back.
Oh, oh
And
my
what he neglected
goodness.
to tell us was that another tumor had popped up.
Oh man.
So what was going on was poltergeist. The majority of it was poltergeist activity because it was affecting him. It would affect his emotions.
Oh my goodness.
So
Ah,
yeah, so that one took forever to figure out. But there was still another ghost in there that we dealt with. I wish we would have filmed that
that's
because
really hard.
that was something to
Yeah.
watch. But the way it happened with Trish, I mean, that was it's the most incredible thing I've seen in years. But um, yeah,
What
now
would
everybody's like,
I
what
thought you
happened?
said so yeah, I thought you said Trish was one of the intuitives to help you. Was it her
Yes, because
house?
what happened was the last time we went in with Monica,
Yes.
Marisa was in the car with my mother. Sorry, Marcy. The last time we went in that house, Trish realized that there was actually a ghost, but the ghost wasn't hurting anybody
Oh, mhm.
in the house. He was looking out for the two boys because he was afraid of the father, who that with the
Yeah,
brain thing going on,
yeah.
that he would hurt them. But what this was, and everything gets involved when you're out in the field like that. because this was woodland, so there was probably farmland out there and a farmhouse, blah blah blah.
Wetlands.
And yeah, and Trish figured out that because I kept getting these weird visions. I'm not saying visions, but when we did our ITC stuff, I kept getting these strange things like the Winnie the Pooh doll in the kid's room. It was
Okay.
really weird, but I did get a face of a man that nobody recognized because they claimed they caught an apparition too, and now I believe that they caught this apparition. But okay, anyway,
Well, what happens, people, like each individual here has their own spirit people around them.
yeah. So
But the
it's hard to
husbands and
sort
children
through.
could have somebody, and the boys or children could have grandma, grandpa
Right,
helping.
right. So what happened in this? The last day we were there, is Trish came in contact with a younger guy who had been a very heavy drug taker,
Ooh, okay.
and he had lived on the property. And his parents were forever telling him to stop. His life was miserable because they're trying to get him to stop. He decides to burn the house down to get even.
Oh my gosh.
What he
Oh,
didn't realize was that his mother was in the house, and he killed her.
oh,
She burned to
these
death.
stories. Mm.
He ran back in to help her, and he died. So he was, attached, essentially attached to the property. But then,
He
but then the
he
older
was.
gentleman, yeah. But then the older gentleman that was there worried him because his emotions were all over the place. He didn't want him hurting the boys. So what happened during this thing, and we did it for some reason. The video camera, well, no surprise there. The video cameras didn't work, but I did have it somewhere. I have the recording because I did get an audio on it. And Trish very seldom does a channeling session where she lets them in.
Oops.
And she did, and she was sitting on this chair, and she starts talking to him, and we're trying to talk him through because we want him to cross over, but he's afraid to cross over because of what he did. So we're talking this guy through. I said, well, I did my whole dowsing rod thing. Where's the opening to the next, to the next, you know, and so it pointed left, and so I'm trying to direct him. Monica and I, you can hear Monica and I talking to him, going, "Okay, let's see if we can do this." And then Trish is channeling him. She's sitting on the couch or sitting on this chair, and you can tell because her whole body language changed.
Oops.
And I'm watching her, and Monica's watching her, and so we finally convinced him. That's how we got the whole story about the house burning down.
Oh my
So we
gosh.
finally convinced him to go through, and we said, "Well, your mother's not angry at you. That was his fear."
And that's
That
what
she,
keeps people, someone
yeah,
being mad.
yeah. And
Hmm.
we kept going. She's waiting for you She's waiting for you in that light. You need to go through the light. What was unique about this is Trish stands up really slowly,
Oh man.
and she's got her hand out like this, like she's reaching out for someone. And you see her, and you can hear it on the recording. You see her lean off to the left, and she's turned like this. She's reaching out. And I said, "Okay, your mother's right there. Just walk through. It's okay. Just take your mother's hand." And you see her grab, and then all of a sudden she releases and flops back down in the chair.
Oh, goosebump time, everybody. Mm-mm.
And I
Yep.
said, "Did you go through?" "Yes, I'm over here now." And that was it. That was the last of him.
Uh-huh.
But it was really, really cool to watch because you could see
Oh
everything that was
man.
happening along with Trish's body and how it was going. And then when he released her, when he finally got through, boom, she fell right back in the chair. I've never seen her do that. I've never seen her channel like that before. That was the first time. Karen does it all the time, but Trish doesn't. So that was something for Trish. That was pretty spectacular. Laughing emoji was an accident. Okay. I'll just come to your house and beat you up. It's okay. But yeah, so that's one of my stories about poltergeist activity because it turns out not only did we have this kid that was there, well, boy man, or I don't know what you call him, to protecting the sick kids, it was the father whose energy was causing all the main activity.
Well,
That's
we
what
could
they're
talk
saying.
stories some night. 1 hour,
Yes,
we ought to pick out some of our best stories.
yes. Let's sit down and
Um,
have the best stories.
there's a lady that is in Sacramento whose son unfortunately passed away, and he was only 17. But one of the more interesting stories that I will write about is the
Hmm.
cousin who also passed away, and how it looked like we went to the boy's house, and Sue's cousin, I remember the lady's connection. They were cousins or something, and we saw the boy leave the bedroom, and go through the hallway to the portal. It wasn't immediate. But what was
Hmm.
curious is like going through a black hole, he's thinned out, spread out, like he started disappearing. Very interesting stories. I can't wait to be able to type this all up for you guys.
Oh yeah,
That's why
the fact that woman
this,
went
I
down
have
in
so
my
many
blood.
stories.
Yeah, there's just so many there. I've been doing this for what? Probably 20 years, huh? Good 20,
25. Well, we met.
25 years, something like that.
When did you start? Oh, 07 with Block Talk Radio?
Or something like that. But then I met you when I was still in college, and I hadn't even
Well, you
started.
and I go back to 95, 6, I think.
Yeah, so that's when I started paranormal investigating. It was
Mhm.
'96. It's been a while.
I started 95 with the Sacramento City Cemetery. Most of these people may not know. I did 6 years of cemetery tours at John Betancourt, the oldest cemetery in Northern California, where John Sutter in 1965-ish era. A lot of old dignitaries are buried in the cemetery, 10,000 old tombs. Um, and we would do 5 or 6 tours a year, starting out with 100 in July up to 250 end of October. And this punky college girl comes in next season, and she walks up just like this big old, like, I know what, this is all
I know what you're
bullshit.
talking
And
about.
it was Char. I turned her around, just whipped her head around that. She got into it immediately. I don't know if it was the next year or not, but I made a believe out of her right away. And John Betancourt. I should probably tell that story real quick. I don't know if we're running out of time here, but John Betancourt had had dealings with other mediums like myself, and it
Hmm.
didn't work out. But someone had heard about me, and this is like 95, and I got started in this in 90. And the old Sacramento Cemetery, people can look it up. John, Sutter Fort, John Sutter is buried there, one of the earliest burials. Goes earlier, but he was the first of many dignitaries. And when you walk in, the oldest of the old stones are toward the beginning. And he looked at me. He says, "Well, let's test it. In middle of July, 100 something degrees, and he wants me to create magic in the middle of the afternoon, and the sweat's just pouring off of me." And he never tells me if I'm right, if he knows the stories. He investigates, and then the night of the tour, that's when he'll
Hmm.
tell me if I'm wrong or right. So to my left, and if someone's heard the story, just bear with me. A lot of people may not have, was a woman who was hunched over the grave, and she had been there so long that she had forgotten
Hmm.
what she looked like. But my perception of her was on her knees, her arms wrapped under her, around her bosom, her head was down, and all she was saying was, "My 3 babies are buried here." And I told John, I says, "Oh my gosh, that gave me goosebumps, everybody. I can feel it now." And I was so grieving for her because she didn't look adult yet. She was just young
Hmm.
looking to me. And but she had 3 babies and she was grieving so badly. Went over there, and it's only 2 names. She was on the grave of 2 babies, which I wouldn't have known because I saw it from a distance, and she
Hmm.
caught my eye, my ear. Whoops, sorry. And and John said, "Well, I'll roll. I got her. First one, we'll get rid of this one right away, right?" And the reason we were doing this is that someone had come in, vandalized the cemetery, and needed money. So he was willing to have tours again to bring the public in. So the first night, the first time we do the tour, and he said to the group that Nancy took me over there, and I thought maybe I just got it wrong, and he was just slamming from 110, 15 people.
Hmm.
And he said, "See, this is 10th and H and 13th, H and 10th or 13th." And he said, across the street into where you can see the building where they carved the tombstone, that's where the cemetery once ended.
Oh yeah,
And they
that's right.
wanted to put
Yeah.
the road right in front. They wanted to bring, and so a lot of the bodies were reburied. And I found that she had lost her first child, and they buried where the cemetery tombstone carver is. They picked up that infant and they reburied it with the 2 others, but it's not listed because it was a newborn. 3 babies under one stone, but only 2 names. And from
Wow.
that point on, yes, I was able to tell a lot of different stories. And goosebumps again. I mean, who could make this up? And how I do that, people say, "Oh, Nancy, you're so blatant confident." I says, "I'm not. I just repeat what I'm hearing." And I've been doing this so long. I was born this way. My father got killed April 1st, 1955. I was 6 years old. And he used to come and visit at night, and I would tell his mother, who was a New Thought minister, and it was her mother and her grandmother used to do table tipping upper state New York upper state New York area where the Fox sisters were. So it was very common and encouraged to do this.
Hmm.
And my father had the gift to the extreme, and he would talk to his dead father all the time, drove my mother crazy. And then he would talk to his own mother, and they would have conversations, but they lived in different houses. No
Hmm.
need for a phone. So naturally, and then when he came visit me at night, so I was kind of like born with this condition. Mother discouraged it until I was in high school. And but anyway, so getting back to these stories of the cemetery, I would say things and people go, "Oh, you just got to be so wrong." And and the stories are so amazing. The how can you make it up? And the little girl with the pearls on, and the theater that the men all
Oh yeah.
stomping the girls on the stage, the can girls, the top level of the balcony crashed down and killed a bunch of 6 men and a lot of injured. And when I walked up to it, I was just hit, boom, with the crashing, the thunderous pounding of feet and the crashing. And John Betcourt didn't even know about it until he looked all those 6 men up. And
The
it
other
just
thing
there. Go ahead.
is I have a photo from a cemetery tour, and this is back then when we used real cameras before the
One of my
advent.
cemetery tours.
Yes.
Oh,
Um, and we're over at the Mayor Woolsey
oh,
grave,
that's right.
and you can see Nancy standing there waving her arms, typical.
Typical me.
And I got a picture of what I think is Mayor Woolsey sitting right next to Nancy.
With the pearls on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what he said, pearls. Yes,
she
it's
enjoyed
pearls.
being there. She
Yeah,
wasn't stuck as much as she liked to be there. And you ask why after 100 years, almost 100 years, why are these people still there? And I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. But
the other
just
one
be
that got me that I thought was
what?
like me is the one that sits on top of the light pole.
Yes,
And he
yes,
sits up there and watches the world go by. So that would be me.
yeah. And there's people walking around from all generations.
And he's
And
watching it.
I
Yeah,
and I think to myself when I hear about these hauntings, I think or people walking around all the time, I go, why are they still here? Well, that's their choice.
yeah.
And that is their choice. And I think it'd be interesting to be a spirit person and catch up as time goes on. Movies.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't go to movies, but I enjoy them.
yeah,
And just, I want to go to Japan. I want to go to the big China wall, and I
yeah.
don't have to do it in flesh. I'll do it as a
Well,
spirit
that's what
person.
my dad did. He just took off. Sarah brought up a case, and I forgot about it. Thank you. That we did. I'm not going to give any specific names and stuff, but
Ooh,
there was this particular bathroom in the house where the house had been a grow house. This was in Oak Park.
what's that?
A
A
grow
grow house?
house. A grow house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, for illegals. And
Okay. Duh.
somewhere along the line, before this is weird. This is like two linking things in one room. Okay, this is the main bathroom.
Oh,
And the guy, I guess, got in trouble with whoever his bosses were. The grow house guy. And so they executed him at the toilet. Not the toilet, but the bathtub. They shot him from behind,
ooh,
and that way he would bleed into the bathtub. Fast forward 15, 20 years later, another accident in the bathroom.
oh my
Teenage
gosh.
kid had a gun and was playing around with it and pulled the trigger. You know,
Did
so
you
you
talk to
had
me about that one?
yes, you had two
I
strategies, or two horrible things happen in one place in that bathroom.
I remember this.
That case,
Yeah,
that was something. That case was something to figure out. That was Sarah's first case. She went out with us.
I
As
seem
I
to
said,
remember thinking I
that's a
saw blood
sensitive.
everywhere,
Yeah,
and no one wants to see it, and no one wants to see it. But
yeah,
I have seen, pardon me, the body is a piece of meat. Once the spirit's gone, it's over,
right.
So,
And then
but
the after effects, that one had something angry. We were thinking it was a
yes.
low level demon, but when I came home with all the EVP stuff to go over it, I ended up with scratches on both arms because it followed me.
Mm.
So that was an interesting case. I think we should sit down one day and do a show on these cases because I even have
I think
art,
so too.
like from the Mara Woolsey thing, that I'm talking about. I even have that art that
I
I
have
can
some
show the
pictures
people.
from the somewhere in the files for books. I have pictures of the cemetery tours where another photographer, Toole,
Yeah.
Toole, took pictures of spirits around me, and amazing, amazing.
Hmm.
You can't even in those years. We didn't have photography like we do now,
Yeah.
and so those are the real deal.
So I think
Um,
we'll do that. I think we'll do that because I've got some real nice shots from the Opera House too with Sabrina
ooh, ooh.
directing me on what to shoot. We're upstairs. Well, you went there. We're upstairs on the mezzanine up there at the top. Just above the
Yeah,
first
I
level
don't
there.
remember a lot about that. It's been so many
And
years.
Sabrina put a shawl on because of
Oh
Madame
my.
Francesca, right? Because they had that Polish opera singer, and so she put the shawl on to do a channeling session. And in the middle of the channeling session, she says,
Oh,
"Take a picture." She's right in front of me. She's right in front of me. She's right in front of me. So I
yeah.
take this picture, and sure enough, there's blotches in front of her face. There's white blotches.
Ooh, goosebump time.
Yeah.
I've had that
So
happen with me, and I've told people during investigations, or if I'm remote and I can feel that, I said,
yeah.
"Please take a picture." And I'm telling her, "Take a picture to the right. Take a."
And Sarah and Marisa, we do
Don't
have
you
two.
see her, Cher? Char?
We have two investigations that we're going to be doing here. They're
Oh.
not in Sacramento. They're up in Auburn. But we have two investigations we're signed up for.
Ooh.
So we're going to get back out, which means for you guys, that means I'm going to be going out live at some point on these investigations, so you guys can come along. So we'll just do some live work on them. But you know what? It's 7:45, you guys.
Ooh.
We don't
Wow.
want to tire Nancy out too much,
Wait,
even
I didn't
though
get tired tonight. It didn't work.
great BS session.
Yeah. Just a very relaxing Friday night sit back. And the thing is that a lot of kids in the room here are the ones who keep asking questions every time. So,
Hmm.
so we kind of mellow it out a little bit in one different direction. I could entertain people for months of the stories I'm going to be writing up on. I have 8 books already lined out. And the stories that Sharon Rossing and I just worked with her on another case of past life intrusion. I mean, I tell you. And what's really odd, I've already told you I don't know how I do this. Everybody thinks I got people saying that I've been abducted and tweaked a little too often.
Hmm.
Do I? My mother, when she got older, she looked at me one day. She says, "I guess I better admit to you before I can't tell you that I've always been intuitive to some degree." Oh, come on, thanks. So I have the fairies on one side, the Irish and English fairy, or that much side of the family is my father. He gave me the gift. But then I have the spirit worshippers and the Indian tribes on the other side. I call it double whammy, but yet you have to appreciate I did start this in 90. So if you do the
Right.
same thing almost every day, everybody, you got to increase your abilities.
Hmm.
So anyway, for past life, I got into, oh, here we go talking again. I get into the body of a past life person. I can get so much detail that I was telling Karen, when you connect with these people again, have them do research because I've given you every detail. Find these people. And I've had people in the past find themselves. I'll never forget the and I want to bring up the lady whose daughter was the ballet in this lifetime wants to be ballerina, which I didn't know, but I told her in a past life she was a Russian ballerina. I found a picture of a Russian ballerina that looks like I saw. And she told me in this vision as she's dancing for the important person, must be the emperor of Russia. This was her last dance. I felt like she was early 50s. And the woman, the dancer I found today, or yesterday, today I think it was, she died in the early 50s. So I think that's what I picked up. And if you can get back to me, if you see this, let me get back to me and I'll tell you who it is. Um, anyway, it's one thing's being older, you lose your stream of thought. And the ballerina was one thing.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's like someone remind me what I was talking about for went to ballerina.
Well, like
But getting back,
when Sarah asked me about that investigation, I thought, "What the hell are you talking about?" Then it dawned on me. I just stopped and think about it for a few minutes.
so so anyway, with Karen Rothstein's case, I described um, what I would call royalty of the England Island, somewhere England, Wales, or Ireland, um, 1930s look of a
Hmm.
gentleman. And if anybody knows history, in that family, he was taller than most people, but he had a rectangle face and he had a very heavy jawline. And you could see these jaw lines of people who have pituitary problems and larger hands. And I wondered if I was picking up somebody who had a hereditary issue that didn't live a long time, but he did show me his wife. And sometimes it drives me crazy. Like I don't have time to look back to find the people I was describing, but it's really fun to do that.
Mhm.
we had to do a show and let me do 2, 3, 4 people
Yeah, and then look at
and
all that,
let me
find out how it
find a
goes,
relative or
and then
someone
do a
passed,
results show, and do a
do a
results
result.
show.
If
Yeah,
someone can find these people,
yeah.
that'd be
Oh, which
fabulous. So
reminds me,
fun.
the guest
Okay.
from last night contacted me. It wasn't my fault. I thought it was my fault. I was taking the blame for it. But he must live near where all those tornadoes were, because he said that
Arkansas?
his internet was completely out, and he hadn't bothered to charge his phone up before that because everything was working. So that's why I couldn't get a response from him all day yesterday. So he's going to reschedule. So I got to get that out. That's my project for tonight, is
Oh,
to get the dates out to him to reschedule. He will definitely be here. I was disappointed. I was looking forward to Eisenhower and the aliens, but okay. So he's going to reschedule. Now Monday, you guys be ready for this. You guys like angels, and Michael Ford is going to be on Monday, and he's going to talk about communicating with angels and how you
good.
can do that. So he's going to be on Monday talking about that. And of course, Sunday will be reading day. That book's spooky as hell. And I'll give Anna credit on it. And that's where we're at. Nancy, you have anything else?
Hmm. No, but I think we ought to maybe plan some shows around what we were talking about tonight.
Yes,
Cemetery tours and
absolutely.
stories,
Stories,
maybe
yes.
stories of investigations and maybe
Yes.
stories of people, how they pass over what I've seen and you've seen. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many topics. I sometimes wonder what you kids want to talk about. And I've covered a lot about kids. Everybody shook their head at this point. And what would you like to hear from me?
Right.
So make sure you send Shar a note. But if nothing else, Friday nights was open like we did tonight was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's really
I would
nice.
like to know who the lady was that came to me earlier today, and I think I wish I could hear first and last names. It'd be so much easier. But yeah, how many Pam
Mm-hmm.
Smiths are there in the world? My
Right.
my name Matz, M-E-T-Z. My husband, first husband, Matz is a very common European name, I guess. How many Matzes are
Wait a
there? Well,
minute. What name is?
there's
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I just got
there's
lost.
two Nancy Matz on Facebook. Now, my
Yes.
married name is Casey, but I had a business 15 years before I met him, so I wasn't about ready to change my name. But so some names are very common. So if I came name, so what? And
Mm-hmm.
if it was too complex, I wouldn't be able to hear it anyway. So, all right, everybody, I've had fun tonight. It's fun.
That was really fun. So again, Monday, will Michael Ford will be with us to talk about communicating with angels. And remember, we got that Patreon site up too. And
Oh,
Pamela's either seen it or she's getting ready to see that first video. That I did with that couple, and I'm going to be doing another video with them. And then Monday, I have another pre-record that I'm going to be putting up over there. So all these pre-records are going to be 1 week to 2 weeks in advance, that you guys can see them over at Patreon. And the Patreon helps us pay the bills. That's what it's there for. $5.50 a month is not that high. Is not that high. All right. And who knows? You know what? Maybe Nancy and I just might do a show over there. We don't know yet. Okay. Take
well,
one of
you and
us
I
over
planned
there.
on doing some.
Yeah,
Um,
to do some stuff over at Patreon,
yeah.
and yeah, so we'll work on some stuff together and stuff for that. And I know Karen Clark and I have planned on doing some stuff over on Twitter, so she might be doing readings over there. So we'll see how that goes. If we can put that together. So there's a lot coming down, and a lot. I got to pay the bills, guys. I'm sorry I have to charge for stuff, but I have no choice. I have absolutely no choice. I got to get the stuff paid, or we have no show. But anyway, I want to thank you all for coming. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 people you hate. It's all good. Just like I told you. Even if you didn't like the show, hit me with a like, right? Because, I mean, just draw other people in.
Well, it
P.T.
has something to
Barnum.
do with distribution. I think everybody knows
Yeah,
that now.
distribution. And I see we
Thanks,
had some
George
happy
and
faces and
Melissa,
stuff.
Pamela,
And I'm
Gary.
glad for the happy faces, because that puts us up in a better algorithm on Facebook and YouTube with the show.
Is
So
that
that
a
helps.
thumbs up, a happy face?
Yeah, it's happy face, hearts,
Oh, that kind of thing. Okay. I
it's
didn't
all
know how it
good. Yeah,
worked.
it's all good. But I want to thank you all for coming. I appreciate it, and I will see you Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific for um for the read. See, I'll figure it out. So let me get you
We're
Nancy's
very
info.
casual tonight,
Yes,
everybody.
we're very casual tonight. You can just tell the way it started, the way it's ending. So I'll get your info for Nancy's information, and if you guys are interested in that Patreon, I believe the link to join and the link to the page is below Nancy's bio information, uh, beneath the description of the show. Okay, so here we go. Let me get Nancy's thing going, and then I'll let you guys Go
Good night,
enjoy your
everybody.
next 2 days off.
Thank you
Here
for
we go.
coming.
Okay, you got websites, nancymatz.com, nancymatzauthor.com, the N, M, and A are capitalized. And then you've got youtube.com/Nancy Matz Psychic. The books, Help, Get Me Out of This Funk, Nancy Matz. Cue the Jeopardy music. What's going on? Oh, there it goes. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills. Oh my gosh, the night just never ends, does it? Come on, you can do it. And The Unwilling Sacrifice, Nancy Matz. And of course, you can get those at Amazon.com. You know what this is? This is like one of the first ones I did because as I started to progress doing these, now I show the books for like 10 seconds at a time instead of like 20 seconds or whatever this is. Not that
Oh,
it's
you
bad.
mean
I'm just saying.
they should maybe go 3 seconds or?
Yeah, I got cut down the time on these things since I did that. But it's okay. It's okay. It shows you. It shows you off. All right, guys, have a good one, and I will see you on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, George, all the way from France. I appreciate it. And here we go. Bye.
Good night.